That doesn't mean we don't trade, because we do trade. But we want to make our products here. Building a massive plant and probably more than one. So that's what we want. We want people, we want to start making our products again. We don't want to bring them in, we want to make them here. And that doesn't mean we don't trade, because we do trade. But we want to make our products here. And if you look at some of the original great people that ran this country, you will see that they felt very strongly about that. Going to make your products. And we're going to start making our products again. And there'll be advantages to companies that do indeed make their products here. So we've seen it. It's going to be a wave. You watch, it's going to be a wave. And I've always said, by the time you put them in these massive ships or airplanes and fly them, and I think it's going to be cheaper. Now, what we're doing is we are going to be cutting taxes massively for both the middle class and for companies, and that's massively. We're trying to get it down to anywhere from 15 to 20%. And it's now 35%, but it's probably more 38% than it is 35, wouldn't you say?
So they wanna, so prior to these administrations, the tax for corporations was 75%. Now it's 35, 38, and they wanna bring it back down. They wanna bring it on down to 15%. So corporations used to pay 75% tax and made profits. Today they pay 15% tax and tell us how much they lose in profits.
That's a big thing. A bigger thing, and that surprised me, is the fact that we're going to be cutting regulation massively. Now we're going to have regulation, and it'll be...
So they're cutting regulation. So we already understand that today there's not even enough regulation as it is. Everything is being taken advantage of and depleted and destroyed for money that is fake, because we don't like regulation. Now,
be just as strong and just as good and just as protective of the people as the regulation we have right now. The problem with the regulation that we have right now is that you can't do anything. I have people that tell me they have more people working on regulations than they have doing product, and it's out of control. It's gotten out of control. I'm a very big person when it comes to the environment. I've received awards on the environment, but some of that stuff makes it impossible to get anything built. It takes years and years. You can look at some examples. I read one recently where a man's been trying to build a factory for many, many years, and his vote was going to be fairly soon, and he gave up because he wasn't going to win the vote. Spent millions and millions of dollars, actually ruined his life. And we can't have that. So when somebody wants to put up a factory, it's going to be expedited. And you have to go through the process, but it's going to be expedited. And we're going to take care of the environment. We're going to take care of safety and all of the other things we have to take care of. But you're going to get such great service. There will be no country that's going to be...
So the people, they choose, meaning non-native, non-aboriginal people will be getting companies, big companies, and they will see a sort of prosperity that they have never witnessed before, or theirs it will increase because of these steps. And none of these are gonna go to you. I tell you that right now.
Faster, better, more fair, and at the same time protecting the people of the country, whether it's safety or so many other reasons where regulations are. We think we can cut regulations by 75%, maybe more, but by 75%.
Cut regulations for 75-80%. Oh my gosh, corporations can take a whole barge of toxic material and dump 1,000 barrels and just pay one fine of $15,000. and he wants to make it less now. Now you can drop barges and just pay me 100. Toxic material.
5% have, in a certain way, better protections. But when you want to expand your plant, or when Mark wants to come in and build a big, massive plant, or when Dell...
When Mark want to build a plant, you understand, solar plants is the worst thing for us. It is only being built so that when it does, does happen, that there'll be a mass critical, will be a critical mass extinction or devastation when it does happen. That's why they build all of these all these nuclear plants. I mean, in the Pope's church, it shows how Lucifer is born out of the flames of nuclear apocalypse. Man, there's no good reason to build nuclear plants when we have solar, when we have wind, when we have water, and we have all of these technologies. There's no reason why we should be messing with nuclear.
Wants to come in and do something monstrous and special, you're going to have your approvals really fast.
Thank you, sir.
And the one thing that surprised me, and then I want to hear what you have to say, but the one thing that surprised me in going around and meeting with a lot of the people at the stable and meeting with a lot of the small business owners, if I gave them a choice of this massive tax decrease that we're giving for business, for everybody but for business, or the...
For everybody but for business, meaning everybody will, he's trying to say that everybody's going to benefit, because when corporations got to pay less, they'll hire more. And when corporations got to pay less, they'll pay more. So everyone's going to benefit, but yes, this is just for corporations. No, I wasn't a corporate CEO just a minute ago. No.
Cutting down of regulation. If I took a vote, I think the regulation wins 100%. Now, in one case, it's hard dollars, and in the other case, it's regulation. You would think that the regulations would have no chance. I've never seen anything like it. Virtually everybody is happier with regulation than even cutting the taxes. So the regulations are going to be cut massively, and the taxes are going to be cut way down. So you're going to have now incentive to build. The one thing I do have to warn you about, when you have a company here...
Look at your cities. They're 5% agriculture and 80% new construction, and all these new constructions are priced out of your range. You cannot afford them. So who does this help? Who does any of this help? Can't you see the deterioration of you, your community, your state, your nation? This is just gonna further it. You guys thought this is play. Well, y'all better fucking buckle up.
You have a plant here. It's going to be in Indiana, or it's in Ohio, or it's in Michigan, or it's in North Carolina, or Pennsylvania. Anywhere in this country. If you decide to close it, and you no longer will have a real reason because your taxes are going to be lower. And by the way, if you go to another state, that's it. That's great. If you can go from Ohio to Indiana, or from Indiana to Ohio, that's fine. So you have 50 great, wonderful governors to negotiate with. So it's not like we're taking away competition. But if you go to another country and you decide that you're going to close and get rid of 2,000 people or 5,000 people, I tell you, United Technologies was an example with Carrier, and I got involved, 2 years after they announced. So, in all fairness, that was tough, but United Technologies was terrific, and they brought back many of those jobs. But if that happens, we are going to be imposing a very major border tax on the product when it comes in, which I think is fair. So
now they can control what they're gonna tax. They're gonna have a border tax, and I bet you that not everybody's going to be taxed the same.
A company that wants to fire all of its people in the United States and build some factory someplace else, and then thinks that that product is going to just flow across the border into the United States, that's not going to happen. They're going to have a tax to pay, a border tax, a substantial border tax. Now,
see, this is what they did in Hawaii. Hawaii had so much resources, and they depleted it. And then they seen our agriculture and said, "Wow, so amazing! Let's grow sugar." So we had sugar cane fields everywhere, and we're the biggest exporters of sugar cane. And then what happened? America taxed us more than they taxed the Europeans. So they were bringing in more sugar from elsewhere and not from Hawaii, because we weren't making any money after the transaction because of how unfair it was, the prices for ours, because of the taxes that they levied against us. And that's all this is. It's the same tactics they're using. But since you don't know shit, you're never gonna see this. See, I watched Tom Hartman for like 2 years. I dealt with the political and governmental structure for like 10 years, and I was convinced that I can make a difference, and I found out what it truly is. And now I have all this knowledge of the workings of our government and our history and the trade agreements and the different steps that the presidents took to destroy our manufacturing and to move it elsewhere, and the way our taxes are taken to Britain and to Rome, and how they use our social securities to pay for everything. The profits they use with our social security accounts, from using them, they use our social security money and gamble on the stock market, and the profits from the stock market and other business ventures, they use those profits to fill in the gaps and pay for all of the things that we need to pay for. When you get welfare, any of these Medicare, they're not paying for your Medicare. Nobody's taxes is paying for your Medicare. Your Social Security account is paying for your Medicare, paying for your food stamps. That's why you have to sign the paperwork, and it has your name all in caps, because that's the name on the account, your trust account that the government opened for you when you sign the birth certificate and your Social Security account, giving them authorization to open up these accounts. We're slaves, and if you put a magnifying glass to the line that you sign on the birth certificate, you will see that it says that you're signing your child over. That's why they can come and take your children, because you don't own your children, you don't own your car. Because once you registered your car, you gave your car to the state, and you rent your car with the registration. That's why you have to get insurance, because it's not even your car.
Some people would say that's not free trade, but we don't have free trade now, because we're the only one that makes it easy to come into the country. If you look at China, if you look at many other countries, I don't have to name them, but many other countries, they can't believe what we do. So we take in things free, and yet if you want to take a plant, or you want to do something, you want to sell something into China and other countries, it's very, very hard. In some cases, it's impossible. They won't even take your product. But when they do take your product, they charge a lot of tax.
Yeah, because they understand that even America used these tactics. And back in the days, we had trade. It's not like we didn't have trade. It's just that we taxed the outside, the incoming merchandise, and in a manner where we promoted the manufacturers in-house in this country, and the products was a lot better anyways. See, and we just flipped it all backwards, because every time we find something that works, they try to diminish it and destroy it, because We don't need things that work. We need things that's profitable. What we can charge, what we can make money off of. I don't care if you're doing good. What we need is a state that is doing good, a government that's doing good. They don't care about the people. They care about corporations because that's where they see the money coming from. They don't like little small businesses. They want big mega corporations that can control the fields.
So I don't call that free trade. What we want is fair trade. Fair trade. And we're going to treat countries fairly, but they have to treat us fairly. And if they're going to charge tax to our countries, if, as an example, we sell a car into Japan, and they...
All right, that's it. It's all rhetoric. It's all good. Switch. Thanks, everybody, for visiting. Next one.